Michael, you are in the midst of organizing civilian led operations in Afghanistan to try to airlift out some of the remaining folks, both Americans and Afghanis, as I understand it. Before I get you to tell me exactly what's going on, why don't you tell me like who you are and how you got involved in this?
Well, I got involved in this when I joined the Army in 1999. I joined the U.S. Army Special Operations Forces, where I served until 2008. Then I left that job and went to Washington D.C. to join the intelligence community as a counterterrorism targeter. So this whole part of the world was very near and dear to my heart. I was an Al Qaeda targeter, and of course that meant the support networks behind Al Qaeda, which put me right in the pocket of the folks that we're dealing with now. I was fortunate to be associated with the Bin Laden raid and the aftermath of that, and sort of mopping up the networks that came out of that operation. I rapidly found that as I was getting more and more involved and reaching out to people that I knew could affect the situation on the ground, a lot of other people started showing up that were having very good effects. I think a lot of veterans had the same collective gasp when we saw what the withdrawal was looking like, announcing the timelines, kind of doing it in reverse. Ordinarily you pull your assets out and then you start pulling away, some of those weapons and equipment, and then sort of fold everything back until you're getting people out at the end. And I think we kind of did it backwards. We sent everybody home and left all the gear. And so I think a lot of us sort of predicted that it might go badly, and started reaching out to people and creating that informal network of, okay, look, if it does go badly, what do we do? So I wanted to reach out to some policymakers. I know Senator Tom Cotton and Congressman Pete Sessions have been showing exceptionally strong leadership on this. So we kind of started there, and with their offices and some of that cooperation, sort of got things rolling. I mean, it really grew legs on its own. It's funny because I keep getting mentioned as an organizer for this, but we all sort of organized around the results. We saw who was getting things done, and then just sort of fell into a team very naturally. So I don't know that I organized it. I was there for the organization, if it were.
We're recording this basically the day that we know there are at least 12 U.S. service members that have been killed. On this day, up to now, what have you and your group, Project Archangel, managed to do?
We've done a lot in terms of being able to facilitate people out. We've done a lot in terms of being able to coordinate people. Because we've all worked there, because we've all deployed to Afghanistan and worked with local forces. There's a pretty broad net of folks that can personally vouch for some of the people that are still left. And so I think Andy Wilson of Quiet Professionals developed a fantastic platform to be able to track some of those people, input their information, and see them in real time, so that we could keep track of folks that we could personally vouch for, that were vetted already, and were at very, very high risk if they were left behind. I believe we're tracking over 3,000 individuals now. We facilitated a lot of people to and through the gates, even when that was a little bit resistant. So we've facilitated a bunch of folks through there. I think it's north of 100.
So you're tracking 3,000 and you've managed to get 100 out. And are these Americans, or we're talking about Afghans who worked closely with the Americans?
Both. It's both for sure. We've had Americans with local national family. We've had American citizens. In one case, I can tell you about an American citizen born in Afghanistan, volunteered to go back as an interpreter for special forces. He got stuck over there and tried to get his family out, and so we had to mount a fairly intensive effort to get him out. He was being actively hunted by the Taliban while we were trying to effect his escape, and they located him. They had hacked his phone. We had to make about 4 attempts to get him out, and it was pretty harrowing stuff. He had a small child with him, his wife, obviously. They were shot at several times. They were chased by the Taliban. I mean, it was spy movie stuff.
So you said 4 attempts. What does this look like? This is in Kabul, at some point that's far away from the airport, presumably, and you're trying to get them there. Is that what's happening?
I was his, communicator. I was looking at maps, trying to figure out where he was, figure out where checkpoints were. He's a known quantity to them. They had his face and his picture and information on his family. They had even called family members. The Taliban directly had called family members in the United States pretending to be the State Department, trying to get them to confirm where he was and whether or not he'd made it out. So in that instant, we were sort of running a little bit of interference on that front with the people calling here. We got him to a safe location where he could make an attempt at getting into one of the gates. As he approached the gate, he was noticed, and another attempt to get through a gate. He was actually chased off by the gate guard, who fired warning shots over his head, even though he was holding a small child and a U.S. passport. So it's been such chaos over there that, even when everything is lined up well, and even when you've got the paperwork you need, it's still a bit of a gamble. His last attempt, when we finally did get him out, he was driving toward the airfield and had his vehicle broke down at the Taliban checkpoint. He was sitting there, and people are trying to reach him, so his phone's going off in his pocket, and he can't pick it up and speak English, or he'll be discovered. And so it was a very stressful, nail-biting hurry up and wait until we could get him off of that X and get him through the gate. But he is now safe in Qatar. He had a pretty tough ride, but he's safe. We got him out.
I mean, incredible stories, and this is one of many, and you have many
One
that
of
are
hundreds.
active as we speak, right?
Yeah, it's one of hundreds, and I know that I don't want to share stories about people who are still there, obviously, because that might compromise things. But I can tell you that these folks are incredibly brave. They've been fighting next to us for 20 years, so there's no question that they have the character and the fortitude for what they're going through right now. And I feel like all of us I speak for when I say that you have to match it. You have to step up and be at least that willing, at least that brave to get them out.
So one of the I guess things that was said, and I think this was reiterated a number of times actually, was that the Afghani army basically just kind of gave up, and that seems a bit at odds at what you're describing. Are you talking about individuals? Is this your general experience? How does that ring to you?
Yeah, I can't speak very broadly because honestly I haven't been involved very broadly. I've been involved very specifically with what we're doing to try and get people out. I know that it's disheartening to see our government addressing the Taliban as if they're a legitimate leadership organization. I mean, Afghanistan has a government. They have a constitution. And I believe that we owe it to them to address it that way. I think that the confidence of the Afghan National Army probably shattered when we started treating the Taliban like they were legitimate leadership. That probably hurt. And I don't know how you balance that equation when you're on the ground of, do I keep fighting? Do I stick my neck out, or do I hide until I have an opportunity to get out of here? I don't judge them. I don't judge them for making the decision that they had to make on the ground. I can tell you that anybody that we've looked at and anybody that we've worked with to get through those gates, even today as things are exploding around them, are steel-willed. I mean, they're incredibly, incredibly brave people.
So tell me a little bit about, there's kind of a network of communication here that's basically, functioning to be able to do this. It's not just kind of one person couldn't do this.
No, not at all. We've always done something we call it establishing rat lines. It's the sort of underground railroad into which you can put people so that they can effect an escape if regular means are breaking down. That certainly fits here. And so we've got locals that we've worked with. We've got on the ground folks who are part of the more elite tiers of the special forces and even the Afghan special forces. It's a huge network of people. We get them vetted quickly. We get them processed. We're bringing the right people in, keeping them screened and making sure that they're who they say they are. But we're getting them in. We're not holding them up in a dangerous situation for that. So I think one of the unsung aspects of this is all the people who are sitting by laptops around the United States doing paperwork with these folks. They're in a horrible situation, sitting there on their cell phone, and they're veterans volunteering to walk them through forms. and make sure that they've got what they need in a picture on their phone so that they can show it when they get to the gate. So it really is. It's an amazingly diverse and effective network.